Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Seriously? This is how triggered I am. No greeting, no intro, just straight up getting to the savagery. That it's bad enough that we have to deal with this bastard in the United States. But now I get to see him in my anime. And I get to see him in an anime that I got some very strong words about. Let's get to it. I get to see Donald Trump be Donald Trump in an anime. And I'm not getting political. We can just end the political shit right here, right now. But just like I said, I was already triggered by the state of what Junie Tyson did to me this week, because I felt like I utterly wasted my time for 12 episodes. And do I feel that way about Inuyashiki? We'll get to that. But the fact that you're gonna show Donald Trump in an anime and have him beat Donald Trump by saying, you know what, yeah, everybody's about to get fucked up, but you know what, I'm rich, I'm fine, I'm gonna be okay. The rest of you losers can die. Yeah, good job. Good job of representing the American people, and it's sad that this is how they think Americans are. If you think that's how they are, it's just bad representation. It just put a bad taste in my mouth. Let's get past that. Inuyashiki episode 11, the grand finale. And I don't know, guys. I don't know. I know I promised that I was going to rage. I promised that if I wasn't satisfied with how this series ended, I was going to blow up. It was going to be blood. And I sit here right now and I kind of did a 360 on that, because yeah, the meteor thing was bullshit. And I think that if we had more time, even though it would have been predictable, and even though in some stages it still was predictable, I think it would have just came off better than it did, instead of just dropping the bullshit plot hole meteor in 2 episodes. I can't say I'm really mad with how this ended. In fact, this ending was very sad. It was really sad because it really did get me, especially with Hanako, because I love that dog to death. I love dogs. And when Inuyashiki decided to go up against that meteor and his family was crying, and then you saw the dog, but the dog was just tore apart, because dogs can feel shit. They know when things are going on. And when it was running and it fell down the stairs to try to catch him, and oh man, that was just so sad. And it's not fair. It's not. And I don't know if this was just a product of bad writing, or, you know, some people hit me up and said this was all rushed, but it just doesn't feel right how abrupt and bittersweet this series ended. It really did feel like the mangaka was just told to end it in like 4 chapters or something, and that's the type of ending we got. And what upsets me is the whole feel of how rushed this ending felt. But at the same time, the sadness that it leaves within me, I can't say that it did a bad job. And maybe it's because, you know, I actually saw it animated. So like when you actually see it, you got the voices, you got the music, you got the emotions. It convey a different type of feeling to you than actually reading it. Like, I think if I would have read this ending, I would have felt completely different. And maybe a lot of this credit goes to Mappa with how they executed this ending. But it just left me sad. And I just feel so bad, because there's a parallel there, because Inuyashiki, you know, he was already on his last leg before this accident happened to him. And he got a chance to be reborn. He got a chance to be renewed. He got a new lease on life. And he still ended up dying anyway. But he decided to die as a hero. And this ending was so realistic that nothing changed. I mean, he died. Nobody gave him any recognition. There's no articles being written about him or anything about him saving the world, because no one did it. Like, even when he was out there saving people and doing his deeds, you know, nobody at work even noticed it was him. So nobody really knows the pain that he had to go through to tell his family goodbye and to be at peace with the dying. And nobody knows what he gave up to save this world. And, you know, his son, he still got his ass beat by the bullies, you know, and it's like nothing changed. And one powerful moment was when he was talking to his son, where his son was like, you know, I want to be a hero. I want to be a robot just like you. And he was explaining to his son, like, you know, that's not the way to be. I mean, death is what makes life what it is. And again, I didn't expect to get the feels with this series in this episode, because even with Shishigami, I knew that he was gonna go up to that meteor as soon as this whole meteor thing came down, and he was gonna sacrifice himself. But I didn't expect to kind of care a little bit. I mean, because he got to the point where he realized he didn't have anything else to live for. He's public enemy #1. Everybody's gonna track him down and kill him anyway, which would have been like futile because they couldn't. But at the same time, he didn't have anything else to live for, because all of the people that he really did care about is gone. I mean, he still had Ando, but Ando was to the point where he was just done with them. You know, the chick and her grandmother, they shunned him. Ando shunned him. His mother died. He didn't have anything else to live for, and he come to realize all of the trouble that he's caused and all the havoc that he's caused. So he said, because I don't want the people that I do care about to die, I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing out. He even told Inuyashiki, he was like, you know what, go home, go back to your family. You don't have to do this. Let me take the brunt of this. And again, I said that if we went this route, I would be pissed. But you know what? It kind of saved it, because he didn't get credit for doing this either. It's like, if they would have did it like, oh, he was just this big hero, and they would have broadcast that he was the one that did it. Of course, we don't know because they didn't show anything. It's just like the meteor was stopped. Everybody went back to their lives. I would have been a little bit pissed, but the fact that, you know, he told Inuyashiki to go home, you know, go home to your family. You don't have to take the brunt of this. Push my self-destruct, because remember when these robots or these aliens or whatever the fuck they were that we didn't get an explanation for, whenever they came down, they said we had the power to destroy this world. So for him to, you know, sacrifice himself and actually tell someone else, you know, go back because you have something to live for, that was pretty cool. And even like when he was reading the manga with Ando again, and I give props to Ando because Ando just didn't give in and, you know, have a moment, even though when he finally decided to go away and self-destruct, you know, Ando did, you know, get sad because, you know, that was his friend. I like that he still called Inuyashiki. I like that he still knew that this kid had to be stopped. So it was a lot of good in the episode too, and it was a lot of good in the series as well. How I feel about it is that I would give it a 7. I would give this series a 7. It's like, I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't. But I would probably recommend it to someone if they wanted something different. If they wanted something outside the norm, but just don't expect to be completely fulfilled. As a matter of fact, expect to be sad, because this ending was depressing as fuck. I'm not gonna lie, this ending was sad and bittersweet, and it was one of the saddest endings that I've ever seen. And it's kind of like Gantz in a sense, if you're familiar with how that ended, and I won't like spoil that if you haven't read Gantz, but it was one of those things where you just felt like the mangaka didn't have a choice. Either he didn't have a choice but to end it, and he just did the best with what he could, or it was just lazy writing. He was like, you know what, I'm tired of writing this shit, so here you go, get this meteor. I think the meteor and Donald Trump pissed me off more than anything. But it is what it is, and now we're at the end here of Inuyashiki. And again, I won't say that I wasted my time with this series like Junie Tyson, which I really do want to make a video about, but I'm not. But I am a little bit disappointed because you can blatantly feel that it was rushed. And Mari actually won the jump contest if you actually gave a shit, but I guess you could kind of tie that into her relationship that was restored with her father, and now it's just like for nothing because he died, because he was the only one that supported what she wanted to do. And even though he's gone, now she can fulfill her dream. I mean, it's feel kind of selfish. I really didn't care about it. I cared more about Inuyashiki this entire series and Hanako, because that dog was so precious. But you know, when Shishigami self-destructed, it still wasn't enough. You know, it still was a huge part of Meteor. It probably wouldn't have took out the entire planet, but it still was going to take out a big chunk. So Inuyashiki took it upon himself to still self-destruct as well, and still give himself, he was so selfless that he was the epitome of a hero in this series, sacrificing himself so everybody can be safe. And it's just so unfair that he didn't get credit for that. And you know, to his credit, that's real life. That's how life is. People give their lives all the time. Look at people in the service and in the firefighters, you know, people in the military and all that. They give their lives and things like that all the time. It's stuff that goes on like this all the time that we probably don't know about, and we probably never will, but this is fiction. I just wanted a little bit more closure on it. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed Inuyashiki. It really did change how I feel about the series. And again, I think the credit to that goes towards actually seeing it animated. I think I would be rageful or pissed if I read this in a manga, because I would have felt like I wasted my time. But the animation, you know, the music, especially with them cueing in that ending theme, which is already pretty nice to begin with, and have that all pulled together with what was going on, even though it ended abruptly with him just self-destruction. It was like, hey, that's the end of the series. I still enjoyed it. So again, my final score for Inuyashiki, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Once again, I probably would still recommend it, but I wouldn't rewatch it. I mean, I watched it. I, for the most part, was entertained by it, and that was it. I probably wouldn't revisit it again, which kind of sucks because I was ready to buy the manga of this thing. But at the same time, I don't know how else it could have ended, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it here. So if you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, as there's now a shortage of content for you guys to indulge on this channel. And coming in the next few days, I will be doing what I'm watching for winter of 2018, because that's going to be here before you know it. And I know I'm a little bit behind on that, but it's still pretty early because things don't kick off to like 4th, 5th or something of January anyway. So we still got time to kick back, enjoy your holidays with the family and things like that. Then it's going to be back to business. And definitely let me know what you thought of this episode, the ending, and the series as a whole in the comments below. Me, I feel that it was very rushed. And even though it was rushed and it wasn't the most fulfilling ending, the way it was executed, I can't help but be entertained by it, and it definitely did give me a feel. So I'm going to go ahead and get it out of here. As always, say you guys be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me, and I really appreciate that. So thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.